am 27 weeks pregnant and I have HIV. I found out about my diagnosis while I was pregnant at around 9 weeks. How did I get HIV? I had sex without a condom with a guy I was seeing at the time and I got HIV. And about a month after getting serious with them, I got a really strange viral reaction. It was like mumps, pneumonia, rashes all over my body. It lasted for about a month and it was just very strange and no doctor could figure out what it was. In hindsight, I now know that that was me being infected with the HIV virus. And as I was only dating one person at the time, I know who gave it to me just by default. When I did find out that I had HIV, I did contact this person on social media to let them know, hey, I think you gave me HIV. If you don't know already, you should probably get tested. The response I got was a bit surprising, and it suggested that they already knew that they had HIV and didn't disclose this information to me.
Victoria was diagnosed with HIV while she was pregnant.
Luckily for me, as I went from dating this one person to meeting my husband, I haven't been able to pass the virus around to anybody. Will my baby have HIV? Thankfully, no, he will not have HIV. So because I was diagnosed and put on treatment for HIV so early in my pregnancy and became undetectable very fast, there is no risk of me passing on the HIV virus to my baby. The standard protocol in the UK, at least, to ensure that you cannot pass HIV onto your baby is that mothers must produce 2 consecutive undetectable results before they're either 34 or 36 weeks pregnant. I can't remember which one. I've been undetectable since November 2021 when I was around 15 weeks pregnant, so I'm all in the clear and I'm not at risk of passing on the virus to my baby. So although my baby will not be born HIV positive, he will be born carrying over all the antibodies from my body, which is through the placenta, and this includes HIV antibodies. Now normally antibodies are a good thing and they help to protect you against certain viruses or infections, but in the case of HIV it's not a good thing. Carrying over the HIV antibodies can lead to the HIV antibodies becoming an active virus, I think. So he will need to be given oral medicine twice daily for 2 weeks after he's born in order to kill these antibodies off, to ensure that the virus cannot ever become active.
People were curious as to how her husband hadn't contracted HIV.
So there's basically 2 main reasons why my husband didn't get HIV from me over the 3 years we've been together. The first of which being female to male transmission of HIV via intercourse is really rare, and it just comes down to the vulnerability of the genital tissue basically. So the tissues inside a woman's, especially her, are very, very vulnerable to damage during intercourse, which can lead to infection. They also are highly absorbent of any bodily fluids like that go inside the, so that's another way of contracting the virus. Whereas for a man to contract HIV in a heterosexual relationship, there would have to be a lot of damage to tissue, like around the and to form a point of infection, and it's just not as common. And a second contributing factor to why Brad did not get HIV from me is because my viral load has been consistently low. Generally speaking, a higher viral load means a higher risk of transmission. Now, me and Brad have been together for just over 3 years, and I've had HIV just over 3.5 years. So I've not had the virus very long, and my viral load at its highest when I was diagnosed was a count of 6,000. Generally, when people are diagnosed with HIV, their viral load is in the tens or hundreds of thousands, possibly even the millions. So the fact that my viral load at its highest was only 6,000, and the fact that I became undetectable very quickly after being diagnosed means that my viral load has never been particularly high and therefore never posed a particularly high risk to Brad.
She goes on to share how having HIV impacts your mental health.
There's just been something on my mind lately about having HIV. Essentially, if I see my own blood, whether that's in a blood test or even just a paper cut, if I see my blood, it freaks me out massively and all I think of is HIV. And it scares me to see my own blood. And even though I know all the science behind how HIV works and is transmitted, and I know that a HIV negative person with no open wounds on their hands. If they touch my blood, they would not get HIV. It still scares the out of me that my blood has HIV in it. And I have these thoughts even when I'm watching a film, and if someone, you know, gets a really bad cut or a wound or bleeds or something in the film, all I think of is, oh God, if I was in that situation and I have HIV, what would happen? My blood would be everywhere, and that would be really bad for somebody potentially. And now I know that I'm still fairly new to my diagnosis. It's not even been 12 months since I was diagnosed with HIV, so it's still somewhat new, so this might be why. But it's just freaking me the f out. The serious psychological damage that goes alongside this diagnosis that people don't really talk about. And this is why when you are diagnosed with HIV, in the UK at least, you are offered free counselling to deal with the fact you have HIV.
We're so glad to see Victoria and her family are doing well. And online, people were grateful to her for sharing her story, with one person saying, "Well done, you are brave to be so open on social media. You're helping people." Others that just wanted to wish her the best, saying, "I'm glad your husband and baby are negative and you got it under control. You got this." As always, thanks for watching Happiest. If you like this video, then head over to our Instagram and TikTok pages for more videos just like this. And of course, if you have any of your own videos that you want to share, why not send them in?